everybody, it's Professor Kettler. Welcome, congratulations, you have made it to week 7, to module 7, and now you're going to be working on your final project. That's, like the last big push before the class ends in week 8. So let's go ahead and look at what you're going to be doing. So you're going to go into module 7, and you're going to go into the project. And remember, just like everything else, this is where you're going to submit it, but this link will take you to the guidelines and the rubric. And this looks kind of intimidating, but don't be intimidated because I'm going to kind of walk you through what you need to put here. And remember that you have seen almost all of these things before in your previous assignments. Now, what this is not is this should not be a copy and paste assignment. Even if you have gotten all A's on every single part of your assignments, you're still going to need to go in and refine things. So what you will need to do is you'll notice that a template has not been provided to you. So you're going to need to either open up a Google Doc or a Word document. And I'm going to go ahead and open up a Word document for myself. And what you will do is you'll just go ahead and, put your name and, final project, and then you'll just start copying and pasting some stuff. So first thing you want to do is just go ahead and copy each one of these. So you can do this in an essay format, or you can do it this way. The main thing is that you want to make sure that you are very clear in what you are answering. So for instance, I've had some students say, okay, this is part 1, and they've kind of written, a couple of paragraphs, and then they went down and did part 2 and, answered those questions. Or I've had students kind of parse it out this way, where they have left, you can see that my editing skills are not quite working. Anyways, so it's really up to you and what you want to do for this part. So you can, like I said, you can either paragraph it out, or you can just go ahead and answer the questions. So the first one is describing the main idea discussed in your chosen news story. Now, in module 1, you only provided like a sentence or 2. In this one, you want to be very thorough. So you want to tell everything. So tell everything that happened, what the conclusions were, the results, the scientific approach. So what they did. So basically just what happened, what did they do? What did they find out? And then what was the conclusion of the news story? So you're going to need more details in this than what you did in module 1. Then you're going to go in and explain your prior and desired knowledge. Don't forget that part, because that seems to get left off quite a bit, is that desired knowledge part. And then many of you got marked down because you said, oh, I have no prior knowledge. And there is always something that you know about a topic, whether it is even if it's just minor background information, because I have a lot of students who are like, well, I didn't know anything, and that's why I was interested in this. You're going to have to do better than that. Okay, so you're going to have to explain something, even if it was just limited knowledge. Talk about what you knew prior to the news story, and then make sure you discuss what you want to know, and be very thorough with this. So once again, this should be about 3 to 4 sentences, and some students like to kind of divide it out like this, so that way they don't forget. Because I do have a lot of students that, they're trying to get through things quickly, and they just forget to do parts of it, and they end up getting marked down because they leave out this second part. So make sure that you discuss what is it that you already knew, and then what is it that you wanted to know about your topic. And then we're going to identify the scientific approach. Now, remember, in module 2, I believe it was, there was a document, a resource document that that explained different scientific approaches. So like experimentation, sorry, I can't spell today. There's another one that was correlation. So there's a couple of approaches. However, you don't want to just say this one word. Talk about what they did. What was the methods? Did they use modeling? Did they attach, tracking devices to animals? Did they use telescopes? And then how long did they do it? And how did they collect the data? And how did they assimilate the data? So this you want to be, another probably 4 to 5 sentences thoroughly explaining what was the scientific approach. And like I said, I know that this is all familiar because you did it in module 1, but you can put your information that you got in there, because I have a lot of students who are like, well, I made 100 on this assignment, so I'm just going to copy and paste. But that's not what we're doing here. We're refining it and we're going even deeper into this project. So if you just copy and paste, you're probably only going to score, kind of in this proficient category. And you'll maybe, make a B or a C, just depending on how well you did. Getting into the exemplary category is where you are really diving deep into the topic and you're really thoroughly answering each criteria. And you're not just kind of a couple of sentences kind of thing. Okay. All right. So then part 2, right? Same thing. You can copy it and then paste into your document. Okay. And like I said, depending on the method that you do, you can either just do a paragraph of information or I personally kind of like this method because you won't forget anything because you'll have the question there and you'll have your answer underneath it. So what was your finalized research question? And so remember that question is not supposed to be answered with a yes or no. It needs to be measurable and testable and relates to your main idea. So if you're asking a question like, do all sodas have sugar? That's not a testable question. You're not measuring anything, and it can be answered with a yes or no. So just make sure that whatever question you put here, right, cannot be answered with a yes or no. And a lot of those questions should start with like how or why. Those are really good research questions. And then just make sure that it's testable, something that can actually be done, an experiment can be conducted on, and that it's measurable, like it's going to produce some type of measurable data. All right, as far as your hypothesis, that is that if-then statement. So once again, I have a lot of students that have their if part and they never put their then part. And so then they get marked down. That's going to automatically be put on like a needs improvement scale on the rubric. So make sure you always have the if-then statement. So if I put fertilizer on a rose bush, then it will grow 5 centimeters. And so make sure you're very focused with your hypothesis. It's a prediction of what you think it's going to happen. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to prove it. You don't have to say, okay, yeah, this is definitely what they're doing. It's just a prediction based on the main idea. So you just have to make sure that it's something that can actually be tested and is going to produce some type of measurable data. So you're not saying, oh yeah, these people are going to actually go out and do it. It's just your prediction. All right, then the next part, explain how your personal beliefs, assumptions, and values influenced how you approach writing your hypothesis. So a lot of people stumbled on this one in the module assignment. So you want to definitely make sure that you talk about at least 2 of these. So you don't just want to only talk about your beliefs. Talk about what assumptions you had, talk about what values you had to get into that exemplary category of the rubric. Because if you only pick one of these and you just say, I value space travel, so, that's why I wrote this hypothesis about traveling in space. That's That's going to be on the needs improvement. You haven't really fully explained that or gone into like kind of like a above and beyond approach of that. So definitely talk about, what things influenced, you're wanting to dive further into this topic and writing your hypothesis. And so once again, this is should probably be about 4 to 5 sentences. Would be a good kind of like baseline. All right, so next part is, and when you look at these things, like they have like little things for you to think about here. You don't have to answer these questions that are underneath it, like the ones that are not in bold. It's just to kind of give you some guidance on what you should be doing. All right, so next step, right, part 3, part 4. Here we go. I'm gonna have to kind of hurry up because my software it only allows me to record 15 minutes. Okay, so one major development in the natural sciences that has impacted how your topic was or may be studied. So, any kind of tools that were used, most of the time scientists are using microscopes, satellite data, whatever. Those are huge, like telescopes. So like go back into the past and see, MRI machines, CT scans, whatever. How it impacted your topic or maybe studied. Like those are tools that were needed. If you're talking about climate change, talk about, when they discovered that CO2, was increasing, things like that. Then you want to talk about the scientist who made that discovery. So if you talk about, the first telescope, you can talk about how Galileo contributed to that topic. This should not be something that is like recent. This should be something from kind of in the past, because that's how those discoveries influenced how your topic was studied or was able to be studied. Then you discuss an ethical issue that might impact your research on your topic. So we did this in module 5, go back and review that really long video that I made about ethical issues, because a lot of students kind of stumbled on that one. Remember, it's something that could happen. It doesn't mean that, the ethical issue is happening in your article. It's something that could happen from your topic. All right, and then part 4, this is based on module 6 assignment. So you're talking about how viewing the world through a scientific lens may influence your personal life. So basically, what have you done in your daily life that you could apply like scientific inquiry skills to and help you better understand something. Then you want to talk about how being a more scientifically informed citizen may affect your relationship with your community. So how is it that you understanding scientific topics like climate change or pollution or recycling or whatever, how can that affect your relationship with your community? Like how could you help in your community? How might being more scientifically literate benefit your community? Then you're going to discuss how being a more scientifically informed citizen may help you understand global contemporary issues and provide examples. So like think of a global issue like plastic waste in the ocean, climate change, water pollution, air pollution. These are all issues that affect the globe. And so how is it that you being informed about that, how can that help you understand these issues and how you would approach those challenges? So basically how is being scientifically literate helpful? Okay. All right. So when you're done with that, you save it and you submit it. This is kind of the guidelines. So Word document, 12-point Times New Roman font, double spacing, 1-inch margins. Sources should be cited using APA style. This is the style guideline. And this is the rubric that you can kind of look at. But if you have any specific questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to help you. But just remember, this is not a copy and paste assignment. You want to go above and beyond in each one of these sections so that way you do well on this, okay? All right. So I look forward to reading everybody's work, and Have a wonderful time.